Okay, so we're just going to do this again, a roundup of the day of some news that you ought to care about. And I didn't do this on purpose, even though I'm from New York, but a lot of it is happening in Manhattan today. And I'm going to kick it off with Sam Bankman-Fried being sentenced to 25 years in prison. This is the largest Democrat donor, or the second largest Democrat donor. And a mere 25 years kind of seems nice. And I think it's because he was a Democrat donor, but that is a little bit of speculation. Shockingly so, because we know that Manhattan is very much soft on crime and kind of just does like a catch and release situation for pretty much everybody, except if you're a conservative. This Manhattan judge that oversaw the case actually said that Sam Bankman-Fried was remorseless, a remorseless scammer obsessed with political power, as he was sentenced to his 25 years of prison. This is 5 months after the whole FTX situation in general. Remember, like, it's just funny, like, when people become like a blip in the matrix, because he was that fro. I'm sure it's on here. I just gotta scroll down somewhere. That fro was everywhere. This man's face was everywhere. And then his girlfriend. What happened to his girlfriend? They're not getting sentenced together? Separate? I don't know. But this picture actually, he looks like that he knew what his fate was going to be beforehand. He didn't even iron his shirt. Probably can't afford an iron now. But there's that. Let's see. Does he have anything to say? Okay, he left the court saying, a lot of people feel really let down, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about what happened at every stage. I made a series of bad decisions, you think? They weren't selfish decisions, you think? Very selfish. You had mansions. You were living like a king. What are you talking about? But they weren't selfish decisions. They weren't selfless decisions. They were bad decisions. It's almost like you almost got the sorry you wanted, but he's saying it wasn't selfish, and I beg to differ on that. But what is still pretty darn selfish is Joe Biden having a fundraiser in Manhattan the same day that there is a slain officer on his hands in Manhattan. So let's just back it up really quick. You look at the dichotomy between Joe Biden and President Trump. I had to stop for a hot second because I think about Joe Biden. I just think about his middle name being Robinette. And I only really in my day-to-day life, like my normal life, if I don't have a microphone in front of me, like I only call him Robinette. So that was like, it was the first time for a hot second that I actually said Joe Biden. But anyways, Trump actually, again, does this really surprise us? Like, he's a man of the people and he stands by his word. And despite the fact that he's not breaking down, but there are people trying to break him down, specifically in a place like Manhattan. Talk about the DA trying to break him down, and he says, you know what, whatever, have your fun, but my priorities are still straight. And so much so that he actually attended the wake for slain NYPD officer Jonathan Diller, who was just gunned down for doing a routine traffic stop. Now, what's insane is that, again, of course, right, the shooter was someone who actually had priors. Shocker. And he had so many priors. He had at least 21. And what's really hard for me as a New Yorker, yes, but definitely as an American as well, is the fact that we have Mayor Eric Adams like showing on up to the wake. Yeah, by default, you better, because I would just like raise all hell if you didn't. But it's weird to see someone like Mayor Adams even think to go to this memorial, because he's the same guy that's spending over $50 million in support. Even him and Hochul are like one and the same, right? It's like they just look different. They're the ones that are saying yes to illegal immigrants. They're the ones that are trucking illegal immigrants that they can't bear to hold on to in New York City and putting them in my backyard in my hometown in Poughkeepsie, New York. These are the same people that are giving over $50 million to illegal immigrants so that they can have debit cards and that they are free to purchase whatever they want as long as it's like survivable items like food and baby formula or whatever. But like at the end of the day, who in the government is really tracking all these transactions? I doubt anyone, and anyone that is, it's probably like them just bored out of their mind and all the numbers conflate into one thing and they're not even really like actually paying attention to the work. And who's keeping track of any of that stuff? Right? No one. Is it the new IRS employees that Biden decided to hire? Is that coming out of taxpayer dollars in New York City for New York City residents. I don't know. But anyway, Jonathan Diller, 31, so darn young. He was shot down. God, do I even know how to talk? This guy had a rap sheet of 21 accounts. Always in a correctional facility, and then let back out into society. But then Eric Adams, on his watch, has the balls, truly, to say, quote, "This is what you call not a crime problem, a recidivist problem. Same bad people doing bad things to good people. Less than a year, he's back on the streets with another guy." Well, he didn't have to be back on the streets. Fix the problem. I'm confused. But I guess the problem, the root cause, is that you don't see this as a crime problem. Just an eye for an eye. Just put people away. Put people away when they commit a crime. The end. Sure, prison reform. Okay, do we want to stop recidivism? Sure. But do not say that the reason that this cop was wrongfully killed was because of recidivism. If anything, I'm looking at this and going, okay, the guy has a rap sheet of 21, offenses, and you guys gave him a chance 21 times. You were 21 times too nice. But you know who's not nice? Is Joe Biden. Joe Biden, you are the president of the United States, and you have former presidents choosing to go and pay their respects to the NYPD. And then you have other presidents, former and current, having a party at Radio City Music Hall the same day. I'm not joking. I wish I was. I actually was like this morning, like, what do I want to talk about today? And I didn't know that there was a fundraiser in Manhattan today. This appears to be the last day that you would want to have a fundraiser in Manhattan. It appears to be the first day that you would want to cancel said fundraiser in Manhattan. But Joe Biden can't say no to money because he's driven by the money and not the mission, because he has no mission, first off. So it doesn't even pertain to him. But he can't say no to $25 million, which is exactly what he's going to get because of this fundraiser. And when I talk about former presidents, of course, everyone's favorite, Barack Obama, is in attendance with Bill Clinton. I mean, you literally just are like, hey, I want to take the top 3 from Epstein Island and have a fundraiser with them. And whoever else is joining was probably on that list too. Sure. Why not? Bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Let's see. Thousands are expected to support Biden, who is fighting low poll numbers amid his run for re-election, which, yes, low. For a reason. You stink. Who else stinks? I'll tell you. People on this list. Celebrities like Lizzo. Lizzo's going to be there. I'm just like, this is very much in pattern to when we talk about, you look at someone like Joe Biden, look at the Democrats, and they're like, no to TikTok, because one of the reasons, China thing aside, one of the primary reasons for like Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and all these people to get behind stopping TikTok from being a social media platform is because we're so afraid of the youth. Our youth are becoming degenerates. Look at the content they're looking at. How about look at the people that you're promoting? Lizzo. I could say some not nice things about Lizzo, but I don't want to get struck with a lightning bolt for talking ill about fellow Americans. But Lizzo is not good for our youth at all. Not in health, not in wellness, not in diet, not in music, not in the way that she carries herself. Forget it. And clearly she doesn't know anything about politics, because why the heck is she at this Radio Music City Hall? And one that made me really upset is Mindy Kaling. I'm so sad because I went through my whole college experience watching the Mindy Project with any free Wi-Fi that I could steal at any second. And I thought she was pretty funny. She got me through some days. But Mindy Kaling, I don't know if you guys remember too, she also like awkwardly did a cooking segment with Kamala Harris where they both wanted to lean into Indian culture and make Indian food together. And it was horrific. I had secondhand embarrassment. It shouldn't have been done. What also should not be done is Stephen Colbert being at this fundraiser, because everyone knows that he's not funny. I don't care if you're on the left or the right. Everyone knows that he's not funny. And his ratings have gone down. But again, tone deaf politicians. So what do? They ask him to be the one to host the armchair conversations between him, Biden, Clinton, and Obama. That's weird. That's like the weirdest stage. I would never want to be on that stage. A woman sets foot on that stage and they're a goner because those men are gross. I don't like it. What I also don't like is the fact that the cheapest tickets are $225, but that's not all. If you want a photo with Biden, Clinton, or Obama, it's going to cost you $100,000. $100,000. That is Bidenomics for you. All I want to know is Who is paying $100,000 to take a picture with these yahoos? Okay. I'm kind of very much looking forward to tomorrow when these photos come out. If they come out, maybe they don't want people to know like who's, in the camp. But I don't know. Lizzo's got really big pockets, like literally. So she probably has $100,000 to kill and take a stupid photo. I don't know. That's nuts. $100,000. You know who's not going to be in attendance to this event at all? This is going to be Sean Diddy Combs. Yeah, he's not going to be there because I guess he either like didn't pay someone the amount of money that they were expecting, or he didn't supply a child in this alleged sex trafficking ring that he might have promised, or he's just the scapegoat and he's very Epstein-esque, and that's that, and we'll never see a list of anybody involved in the ring. Who knows? Because we all did see that Homeland Security went ahead and tried to raid his mansions, and I'm like, what are you guys going to go there just to collect a bunch of evidence and hold on to it forever? Is it going to be used as blackmail? Did you even find anything? And why was he on a flight at the same time that you were doing the raid? Where was he going? And did he get tipped off beforehand? Like, all this to me just sounds really weird. I will say, although it's weird, it's not sudden. P. Diddy actually has a laundry list of scandals that somehow just were, again, another blip in the freaking matrix, because there's always something to talk about. There's always something going on. We get distracted by spy balloons and the rest. But yes, if you go on the LA Times, they actually have a long timeline of the allegations of P. Diddy, which, was it P. Diddy, Puff Daddy? Freaking puffball to me. He looks like one of those people that has a lot of cortisol because he's like really puffy. So I think we should just call him Puffball for now. And he has some issues. So we're just going to jump around through a few of them. In 1993, Combs founded Bad Boy Records, right? And then he began discovering and developing hip-hop artists, Notorious Big, which everybody knows because you can't go anywhere without seeing someone randomly with like a Notorious Big t-shirt. Whoever decided to create those t-shirts to begin with is just making so much money. But okay, so we know that. Big guy. Rap game, all that, explodes, popularity. In 1999, Combs was arrested on suspicion of assaulting Interscope Records executive Steve Stout and pleading guilty to harassment. He was also charged in 1999 with criminal possession of a weapon after police found a gun in his car when he was dating at the time J-Lo from the block. From the block with a Glock, I guess. I don't know what kind of gun it was. 2003, let's see. According to a December 2023 lawsuit, Combs' former Bad Boy president, Harv Pierre, and a third unidentified person allegedly drugged and gang raped a then 17-year-old girl. And she was never identified in any of these court cases. This is just Jane Doe. And the alleged assault took place at a New York City. God, New York City. New York City recording studio after Pierre and the unidentified man flew in with the victim from Detroit. Then in 2005, he met in Ventura. And she's kind of named I assume. Is that bad if I don't know? Am I like not cool enough to know who Ventura is? Please tell me it's a girl. Ventura, P. Diddy. I'm not typing this. I don't have enough details for the Googler apparently. Oh, it's Cassie. Duh. Okay, thank you. I didn't know that was her last name. But Cassie, remember she was like the one that did like Me and You, that song? I think that was like big when I was in the 6th grade. It was like one of those things where you could like dial like *82 and you can get a free ringtone on your Nokia before the flip phones. It's like the walkie-talkie is like the next bleep phone. But anyway, she was like really famous. And then they've had a long strenuous relationship. They recently, about a year ago, cut ties. And that's when all these allegations started coming out. So it's been a long time coming. So the raid doesn't necessarily surprise me. And then, of course, being a girl into the pop culture, like a lot of the girls kind of knew that there was a weird, everyone talks about like the cesspool of the rapper game, but P. Diddy was always kind of like talked about as a groomer, potentially groomed Usher. Usher discovered Bieber. So this like little recidivism when we talk about happening in the rap game. So pretty nuts for sex trafficking. I mean, like how low do you go? It's just dirty. Speaking of other dirty things, so Gateway Pundit, New York Post, like a bunch of outlets are now kind of just bringing up like older footage after all the speculation. And they show this footage of P. Diddy, or Puffball with teenager at the time, Justin Bieber, teasing about this as being every 15-year-old's dream of them two spending time together. Yeah, and it's just weird. I won't play it You can look it up later. It's just weird. But even the screen grab, like, I know this looks like a funny screen grab, but like Justin Bieber actually looks uncomfortable in the screen grab and is very uncomfortable during the photo or during the video. There's another video as well where like P. Diddy ends up like approaching Justin Bieber. I think it was like after an interview or something of that nature. And he does that predatory behavior where he's like, "You're too cool for me. Why are you not hanging out with me?" Being weird and like a predator. We'll see what comes out of that. I mean, Epstein has pretty much given us no hope. So who's to say that we're really going to get any clarity on what's going on unless they want to make him a scapegoat? Completely damaged his reputation, self-destruction. But talking about destruction, we're going to end with this. The Baltimore Key Bridge. It is not lost on me before I even begin to think of the families and the souls that have been affected by the bridge collapse. 1,000%. That is the first thing that's on my mind. But the next thing that's on my mind is how the Biden administration has responded to this. So I'm thinking about other situations. I went down a whole laundry list of like, okay, what other collapses may have occurred that would be in a similar standing that the federal government would actually use federal dollars to serve a repair. Because traditionally, I always just assumed that it was between like the vendor, the construction company, then who actually like hit it. So you have like the Singapore cargo ship. Okay, like maybe you guys should be paying up, and then it's worked out with the state. You do have your federal like emergency spending dollars, but I guess in this instance, the port is so large that, and the bridge is, the port is so important. It's top 10 ports in the U.S., but it's also such a large bridge. It costs a lot. So it makes sense to me. But what doesn't make sense to me is that we're completely on the train of, okay, everything's all good, nothing to see here. The government is going to cover the costs. And I'm like, what else are you covering? Because the only other situation, I looked at other bridges like falling down and what happens in those situations. It was difficult for me to discern between state funding versus federal funding and who gets what when. So I looked at something a little bit more recent that was part of the Biden administration that Pete Buttigieg had to address. And that was in Philadelphia when there was a truck that hit, I-95, right? In Philadelphia, and it hit one of the elevated portions of I-95, and then a fire also broke out. So they actually used federal spending dollars to fix that. But the investigation as to exactly what happened, where the shortcomings were, all the information, this was last year? I got to look that up. Was it Philadelphia I-95 closure investigation? Like when, I can't even spell investigation, it's fine. When did this happen? Yeah, okay, around June 2023. So it's still ongoing investigation, and we're in March of 2024. So why is it that all of a sudden we're just like, the bridge is fine, don't worry about it? Like, that's sending alarms through my brain cells. And what also sends alarms through brain cells, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. What is going through my mind is, okay, so it took that long. It's still taking long for the government to have a full-blown investigation back to what happened in Philly. But for some reason in Baltimore, we're looking at this and going, everything's fine. Yep, the government's going to cover it. But what else are they covering? Because as far as I'm concerned, when I just do a quick set of research, I saw yesterday morning, and then it kind of trickled out into the news sphere, and people started talking about it, but Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, so CISA, which is under Department of Homeland Security, came out with an official report on their website. We can take a look at it from February of 2024, and they absolutely confirm the People's Republic of China's state-sponsored hacking of U.S. critical infrastructure. And if you look even right here, so I'm like not lying about any of this. I know it sounds kind of weird, but again, it's cyberspace. That's how they're doing this, through communications, energy, transportation, water, and wastewater. So it says it right here. There's no speculation to be needed. I'm just reading the internet, and I'm reading what our government put out. It's like we're in this weird world where, like, sometimes, yes, do we have government cover-ups? 1,000%. Do we have misreporting? 110%. But there are times when things are just so out in the open for us, and we are almost desensitized. And our government banks on us being desensitized from it and not having absolute outrage. Luckily, with like the form of X, outrage appears to be a little bit louder than normal because we're able just to speak freely and write in all caps, and news travels really quickly via X. But I don't know if this is really going to make anyone act at all. But I mean, it says it right here. Confirmed. The US government has confirmed PRC state-sponsored cyber actors have compromised US entities. There's no guesswork there. Now, what I'm guessing is how long can Joe Biden hold on to office and cover up every psychotic thing that's going on until, I'm not going to wish ill will on nobody, but until like anything happens. He's just so old and losing his mind. Like, how much longer do we all, and he, have to endure this presidency? Okay. So yeah, that's just where I'm at. I think it's very weird. I think it's advantageous. You think about Washington, D.C. has the highest population of international, just spy activity in general, but of course international spy activity. So to get to the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, like to do anything within that realm doesn't sound crazy to me at all. Also, the fact that this just happened right after, you could speculate, sure, maybe. Without speculation, it's very probable that you had some spy activity going on and this was the end result. You could say it was maybe part of a response to what happened with the Russia terror attack. You could say that. You could say anything right now, because our government isn't. And who knows if they actually ever will. Well, that one actually kind of made me a little tired. So I hope that maybe you were sitting down when you were listening to all of that, and you could take a good swig of an Olipop or something and relax for the rest of the weekend, and maybe we'll do this again sometime soon.